projections show household energy bills could reach more than £5,300 a year by April 2023. That's amid warnings that inflation will hit a high of 18% in the new year.
Wow. Well, the government has confirmed those living with a disability will receive an extra payment of £150 in September to help with extra costs they're facing. Campaigners say it's nowhere near enough. Well, joining us now is disability activist Shani Dhanda and Chief Executive of debt advice charity Money Buddies, Sylvia Simpson. Welcome to both of you. Shani, I want to come to you first of all because your entire life is such a great demonstration of living with disability, being very successful in your previous career as an event manager and now working as an advocate for those with disabilities. Yeah. How much has the cost of living and energy increases impacted on your ability to live life?
Well, as a disabled person, I really struggled to get in work. So not only do we struggle to get in work, but we then struggle to stay in work. And now I'm worried about how long I'll ever get to work for. And on top of this, we've got a cost of living crisis, and disabled people face many unavoidable extra costs to the tune of £583 a month.
What sort of things? Give us an idea.
Yeah.
I have a tiny little insight into this in terms of being a carer for Derek with his challenges. But I'm sure there are so many more and they're very varied, aren't they? So how does it impact you? What sort of things do you have to use energy for that others might not?
So I've faced lots of different extra costs. I can't just walk into a store and buy clothes. I've got to get them tailored. I can't use public transport. It's not accessible. When it specifically comes to energy, because I live in a world that isn't designed for me, my home is my refuge. It's an environment that I can control. Therefore, I spend much more time at home and I work from home. I have to have devices that help me connect with my family and friends to get support. And there's lots of other friends that have to use electricity to charge their wheelchairs, to charge ventilators. We're not talking about a willy-nilly choice here. It's a life or death situation for many disabled people.
Shani, could I just ask you about this 150 quid? What does that mean in real terms to you? Now, you're talking about being a wheelchair user. There are hundreds of thousands, millions of wheelchair users. Am I right? I heard this. Have you had the same wheelchair since you were 16?
Yeah.
How much is a new one?
So my new wheelchair quote is £7,000.
Wow.
Pre-pandemic, it was around £6,000, but because of lockdowns, I wasn't able to get it. I've now restarted this and it's an extra £1,000, but now I'm not going to be able to buy that. Well,
just help me with the money here. You know, it looks like energy prices may go up to, well, the cap's going to be £5,000. 18% inflation, £150. How does that help you and other people with a range of disabilities? Many thousands in every community, every family will be touched by this, or many families up and down the country.
You know, whilst we're very grateful for the support, it's just very insulting. And I know there'll be some people out there thinking, well, just be grateful for what you're getting. But when we face unavoidable extra costs on top of a cost of living crisis, £150 doesn't even cover a tiny fraction.
Do you know, I think many people will be surprised that you have to buy your own wheelchair.
Yeah.
Because wheelchair services, there's incredible people that work for that, but they give, understandably perhaps, the wheelchair, the contraption that suits most people, but it's not necessarily right for everyone, is it? You understand have a brittle bone disease that you've had from birth.
Yeah.
So for you to get the accessibility and freedom, you might well need a very specific wheelchair, and that's something that disabled people have to buy.
Yeah, and it's very much a postcode lottery as well. It's if you live in the right postcode, then you'll go and get an assessment, and then at that assessment, I was told they didn't have anything for my needs.
And no one to represent you, by the way, at those things. A whole other story. Shani, look, you said something which, you know, I can't pass over because people need to understand it, right? Stark terms. Are we talking about life and death here with the price of living going up?
Absolutely.
Right, just give us an example. Help us understand that better.
So many disabled people use energy for medical devices, for electric wheelchairs, for example. It's just simply not a choice of one day not turning it on People need to charge these things and they help them to live. It's a life or death situation. Disabled people have already died and will continue to as a result of this. And I just want to make it really clear, there's 14.6 million disabled people in this country and just under 3 million claim disability benefit.
So they're out there, they're working, they're paying their taxes, people are doing their best. Right. So, look, we've got CEO of Money Buddies, Sylvia Simpson, here as well. You know, everybody's finding the cost of living tough, but if you're somebody that's living with a disability and a severe disability, that should be enough of a challenge, shouldn't it? It should be helped to get through this even more than the rest of us need to. When you're faced with what Shani's describing, that in order to use your wheelchair, which allows you access to the world, to Earth, you need to charge it, what advice can you give to help them reduce costs? It's pretty brutal, isn't it?
It's very brutal, unfortunately, and it's not the first time that we've heard this. We get a lot of people coming to see us that's disabled, and we help them apply for disability-related benefits. We have a sister project called Benefit Buddies, and we're booked to 4 weeks in advance for helping people apply for disability-related benefits to help maximise their income. And so not only is it just on charging wheelchairs and, you know, using electricity for beds, or maybe the tumble dryer because you're doing lots of washing and drying, you know, people with disabilities, although a lot of people with disabilities work, a lot of people with disabilities can't work and they're at home more, so their electric and gas bills are more. And so we have a number of clients that come to see us that's already got thousands of pounds of utility debts that we're helping to try and get those debts cleared.
Sylvia, can I just ask for some practical advice, really? I mean, Shani, you're more than capable of speaking on behalf of yourself and other people with disabilities. That number you just gave us, the millions and millions of people who are disabled and still in work. But, you know, there'll be people out there worrying. Shani just described it in stark terms, right? This is life or death for millions of people with disabilities. What is your advice for people that are worried about turning on their gas or electricity this winter, where it may result in, well, to say the very least, tragic outcomes?
Yeah, my advice, our advice is maximise your income, do as much as you possibly can to maximise your income. We ask people to sit down and write down what they've got coming in and what they've got going out. And we look at different ways of maximising people's income. Many people are entitled to money that the government owes them, but they don't claim it. And we've had people backdate claims that's gone into the thousands of pounds. So it's always worth getting advice. Now, everybody's situation is individual and it's unique to them, and there's no two that's exactly the same. So this is why we say it's important to get advice from an agency where you are. They also have access to resources as well, so they can help you apply for fuel grants and help get you any arrears cleared off that way. Some might have access to fuel vouchers that can get you some money off your prepayment meter, which is another story. And so get advice. Okay. It's very difficult.
And the agencies are obviously people like yourselves, but where else would you suggest to go? Because actually just knowing where to start is half the challenge.
Yeah, well, what we've done is on our website, Money Buddies. Money Buddies is easy to remember. So we've started putting agencies on our website that can help people if you are looking for advice. Even though we might not be based in the Southwest, we would still have information on there on where you can get advice.
Thank you, Sylvia. And Shani, it's been, you know, a lesson listening to you. But many people out there, right, I see them on Twitter all the time, you know, shrugging their shoulders and rolling their eyes when they hear the word disability. And you talking about the tens of millions of working disabled and how this is going to impact them. And I hope you get the wheelchair that you need. 16. Apparently yesterday we're not supposed to ask how old a woman is. It's bad manners. But can you tell us anyway?
I'm 35.
Right. So it's been a while. And Kate, I have to say to you, you know, I know you're not going to say it, and I know you won't mind. But the reality is that even with all your... You don't talk up about it, but all of your, what you might describe as privilege, you've struggled in trying to make sure that you can get access to the things that you're entitled to as well, right?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely mired in the confusion of it all. I think it's hugely challenging, and I can be quite... sparky about speaking up. I think regular viewers might agree, but sometimes it is just very confusing, and the costs are sort of stuff that you don't even predict, actually, aren't they, Shani?
Absolutely.
And it comes and bites you. But look, if you have been affected by any of the issues we've been discussing, you can find advice and support at itv.com/helplines.